we have a ghost. So Netflix recommended this. I saw that this was one of the most watched films in my country, and you know, with the poster of the two fist bumps, I was like, nah, I don't want to watch this. It's just going to be another generic movie that's trying to be funny. But yesterday I decided to, you know what, I have nothing to watch, let me give it a go. I did not know that Anthony Mackie and David Harbour were in this film. So when I went in, I was shocked to find that they were in the film. Now the film is about a ghost that is trapped in a house. Let me put it this way. The film is about a family and a neighbor and a ghost. Now the family is, you have a dad who wants just one win, just one. But he's a dodgy guy, he's a very dodgy guy, he's done very many bad things. There's some really weird things in his past. Then you have the mom who will do anything for the family. Then you have the late teenage boy who's about the abs, social media, and the girls. Now you have the center, the core, the cornerstone of the story, which is a young guy, is in early teens. Brooding, always very, very quiet, always listening to music, doesn't want to talk to anyone. Used to be cool with the dad, but something went wrong, the trust was broken, and now it just doesn't want to gel in with anyone else in the family. Now, these guys are moving from a different town into this town. They've just bought a house. The house just happens to be haunted by a ghost. Now, after they move into the house, the ghost and the awkward kid becomes buddies. So they start talking, and one day, after the young brooding, the last one, the young brooding cornerstone of the story, records the ghost. The brother gets the phone and then he uploads it on YouTube, and then it blows up. And then now the ghost is called Ernest, and Ernest the ghost becomes a thing. And then the government discover, oh my goodness, it's a ghost. So there's another character who's introduced who's after the ghost so that she can bring back her project. Now that's basically the basic synopsis of the film. Now this film for me was weird. I don't know. I don't think it was meant to be comedy. I didn't check whether it was what it was supposed to be, but the comedic side of it did not work for me. The thriller mystery part for me really worked really well. It's a very emotional film, and let me just put it this way: if you're watching this film for the first time and you're like me, you don't know what's going on, give it the first 30 minutes. Yeah. After the videos go viral, that's when the movie actually starts for me. For me, the first 30 minutes was like, I was actually doing other things as I watched it, because I don't think it was interesting enough for me. It didn't move enough. There was a problem with the pacing. It felt, it was so predictable. When some things were happening, I was like, yeah, that will happen, that will happen. I was like, yeah, I knew it. This is just one of those 90s straight-to-video Disney film. Feel good. There are no consequences. The ghost gets discovered. Yeah, nothing really quite happens. But when it hits the 30-minute mark, that's where everything now changes. The dynamics move. There's another Chinese, that the family has a Chinese neighbor who is, let me call a young girl, the same age as the main character of the film, which is the early teenage boy who's always brooding, and they become friends, and now they have to solve the mystery of the ghost, who's called Ernest. And so they go on this epic journey to find what happened to him, and they try. That for me was the most important and most entertaining part of the film, because the one thing that this film does really well is keeping everything a mystery. And just, you cannot, I thought it was predictable, but I was unable to predict where this ghost actually came from. At one point I thought it was a scientific experiment gone wrong. At another point I thought this was an alien something might have happened, and I don't know, bodies might have been swapped or something. I didn't think that it was actually a proper ghost. But what happened, the mystery actually works really well, the reveal works really well, the ending works really well. It's a very emotional ending, a very well done emotional ending, because now the ending makes the first 30 minutes make sense. Yeah, the ending just summarizes everything very well. It's very fulfilling. You feel that what happened to the ghost and what happened to the kid, the teenage kid, having seen him in the first 30 minutes and looking, okay, let me put it, what I'm trying to say is what people call a character arc. That's what it's called in the business. So the young kid goes on a full arc. For the dad now, I don't think he does. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but the focus of the story is not him. The focus of the story is this young teenager, early teenager, brooding kid. And they did it so well that when the final scene comes in, I felt for him, you know, because something had been established between the character. The ghost is played by David Harbour, by the way, and there's some very interesting action sequences, but very light. Again, Disney. It feels very Disney, but it's, again, yeah, in a way, it's also its own thing, and some scenes are very, very entertaining and just light enough for you to enjoy, light enough for you to be entertained, but it keeps the mystery going. Now, what I did not like about this film was when the mystery is unveiled, it's just not the way I expected. I expected it to be a big deal, but they just, it's like a switch. They just solve the problem with a instant flashback. Then everything is explained to you and everything is shown to you, and you see what everything happened in a single flashback. In less than 2 minutes, you get what happened and you're like, oh man, oh okay. So you're like, okay, that's cool. What I wish they would have done, they would have like done enough job to actually flesh it out a bit. Let me just say that unveiling, that moment when you get to discover what happened to David Harbour, it's done so quickly that it doesn't have that impact that you expected. I expected them to work it out for, yes they do in a way that they do, but they do it differently. What I expected is that it would take a bit of time. It would take a bit. They would treat that moment the way they have been treating the last half of the film. Prolong the mystery, prolong what happened to him, chop it up a bit, give it a bit more time to actually let it sink in. Because when it happens, I'm like, wow, it happened so quickly that even when the film ends, I'm still processing what happened to the guy. And I'm still asking myself that, obviously Zagoso is dead and the body is buried, so I'm thinking about where he's buried, I'm thinking about some other things, I'm thinking about other things are left out, and I'm like, they could have done something better with that particular scene. So we have a ghost, a good movie? Yes, it is. It's very entertaining. It's on Netflix. It feels like a Disney film from the 90s. And the performances are what you'd expect them to be for a Netflix show, which is trying to be comedic. If you've watched any other, it's you know how Netflix work when it comes to comedy. The performances are, you're working too hard to be funny, but you're not quite there. Let me just put it that way. The performances from Anthony Mackie, from the Ghost. Here's the thing about David Harbour. He doesn't say a word. I think this is an actor's dream role. You just have to perform without saying anything because the ghost cannot talk. And that for me was fascinating. And the way he was able to express, there was a lot of expressions, there was a lot of, there's a particular scene with the interview that is outrightly scary. It's very disturbing, but actually, if you have a kid, when there's a certain interview goes to happen, I think you might as well just close their eyes or just ask them to leave the room for a while for that scaring scene to happen, because there's some really disturbing things that happen there. But again, it's supposed to be a ghost, it's supposed to be funny, but it's outrightly uncomfortable. Anyway, the movie is very entertaining. Third half, give it time. That boring first 20-30 minutes pays off at the end. The last final scene makes you just adds value to that first 20 minutes, because it makes everything make sense, and you feel more for the character if you understand the beginning of the film. Yeah, it's I would give it, out of 5 I would give it a 3.5. That 1.5 is because it's kind of familiar. I'm sorry to say, it's just familiar. And yeah, so that's it. We Have a Ghost is an enjoyable film on Netflix. If you have Netflix, give it a watch. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I'm sure you'll enjoy that second of the film. You'll enjoy it very much. So thanks for watching. Subscribe, please, and I will see you on the next one.